watching the clock, 10,000 hours go by. I keep putting in work, the tears are filling my eyes. I swear I've never been tested like this, but this is mine. It's not a matter of chance, just a matter of time. Never look back. If something standing in my way, I always push back. If something seemed impossible, I never took that. Nah, cause now I know better. Can't stop, won't stop, I won't quit ever. Take me, the highest fall, it won't break me. The blood and sweat is what made me. I'ma get mine, just a matter of time.
Today's matchup: Hanwha Life Esports, GreenWings, The Fantastic Run.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Summer 2018. I remain Atlas. This also is Papa Smithy. We're up to match number 2 for today out of 3. You get as much Papatlas as you could possibly want, as we could still be potentially going to 9 games.
But as we all know from all-you-can-eat buffets, sometimes you might gorge yourself and afterwards feel a little bit queasy. So that might also be a Papatlas reality.
Thankfully, we have like 20-minute breaks, you know, between series, so you can just go have a glass of water, you know, recharge the palate, you know, potentially. So hopefully you guys will be okay. It's not an overdose of Papatlas for you, as we have a check-in with the rankings. And after the SK Telecom T1 victory, they are -2 points, trying to get towards that positive point mark, but evening out on wins with Hanwha Life Esports, meaning that if Jin Air are able to take them down and then SKT can get themselves a 2-0, we could have SKT moving up to that coveted 6th place.
And Hanwha Life are just in a weird spot, Atlas. They have been losing. They have not won a game in the second round robin, despite being, you know, 4th, 3rd at times this season. The players started to fall away. They played the damn B squad last time, so we're not really sure anything line up onwards for Hanwha Life. Jin Air should represent a very winnable opposition for them, but when one team is 2-1 and one team is 0-3, strength of schedule matters, but it matters to a point, and we'll see if it matters for Hanwha Life Esports, who should be beating Jin Air if their top 5 dreams are going to be a reality.
You have to look back, though, after the last 4 games. It is Jin Air victories for 3 out of 4 of them, so this will be a difficult time for Hanwha Life Esports, who will be on our blue side, and it is going to be Hanwha Life A squad, as opposed to the Hanwha Life B squad that we had in game number 2 against SKT last time.
They played 10 players over 2 games, won neither of them. The B squad arguably looked better, especially in the early game. Brook was popping off on the top lane Jace, but Brook is a thing of the past. Linderang, Songwon, Lava, Sangyun, and Key. Today, this is the A squad. This is who we expect will be playing if Hanwha Life can make it to playoffs. But it was a when question a few weeks ago, Atlas. Now it's an if question. What are they going to play here? They're out of their style. They're in a bit of a rut, Hanwha Life, and they want to try and work out their kinks against Jin Air GreenWings.
Yeah, could certainly be a difficult one, but this is the opposition to bounce back against. As far as their schedule is concerned, Hanwha Life still yet to go up against BBQ for round number 2, so they have that one in the bag as well, theoretically. As on the other side, Jin Air GreenWings, they're a team that lost to BBQ, actually gave them the start of their 2-match streak that we were talking about. It's going to be exactly the roster that we have seen every single time. Grace in the mid lane, no sign of justice. Teddy and Nova rounding it out. With, of course, So1 on the top side of the map and Umti in the jungle.
Speaking of streaks, though, Jin Air on a streak of their own. 3-1 over the course of 4 series, including the now famous victory over Kingzone Dragon X a few series ago. They are 2-1 in the second round robin. They are not the free win that they and BBQ represented about a month ago, even 3 weeks ago. Times are changing, and while Jin Air are not able to get out of relegations just yet, with MVP's roster woes, Jin Air GreenWings must be looking at their 9th place position and saying, we can definitely go higher, even if top 5 does represent a very unlikely goal for the side of Jin Air.
Yeah, and Jin Air, if they are able to win here, then it is a gigantic bounce if it is the fact that MVP are going to fall down. But as you see, Hanwha Life on a couple of match losing streak against SKT and Griffin, but it's only that BBQ loss for Jin Air GreenWings over the last 4.
For the fans of the Glad Plane, 0-8 has turned into 8-8 over the course of 2 kind of halves of this match history. They have been doing some winning. Have Jin Air looking over some of the KDAs here. Songyun's KDA doubling Teddy's, but Teddy's trying a lot of different stuff, and when he falls back on the marksman and when he pulls off some of these frontline mages, he can certainly be very impressive.
Yeah, and Teddy's up to 5 games on the Vladimir now, and even in losses, Teddy's been able to find the flanks. He's found the positioning, even if they don't necessarily work out. The Vladimir has fit into his wheelhouse quite nicely, and Teddy's showing some versatility as damn. This is a close matchup between these 2 squads historically.
A close-knit rivalry in summer season. It has focused on Jin Air, who went 4-0 last summer. This summer, we'll see how Jin Air can do in the second round robin as their losing streak has finally been abated and Hanwha Life's has already been started. So very interested to see the result. I think a tale of 2 seasons might be judged here. My key position is actually the jungle. I'm very excited for 2 aggressive junglers, Umti and Songwon, to get down and dirty. But in the top lane, Linderang and Sowon. Yes, we do have Sowon versus Songwon. Best of luck, Atlas, when it comes to some of the names today.
My favorite matchup, Papa Smithy.
What about this matchup? Is that your favorite, the Mundo versus the Darius? We haven't seen it so much recently. My big prediction is we don't see it today.
Well, you are looking at the jungle. I was actually considering the bottom lane. Teddy versus Songyun is a huge one as well, given the fact that Songyun has been a bit of a surprise performer, as we are going to bring that key matchup onto your screen right now. His 80 carry play has been good, but also when he slips over to the mages, it certainly does look good as well. And when Songyun's having his day, it certainly is a day out for Hanwha Life Esports. But we all know about the Teddy plane. How can we expect this matchup to go this time around?
Well, my expectation is if Songyun wants to pull out his ever-reliable Ezreal, we know that Jin is the pick that Teddy likes to go into to answer Ezreal in particular. Jin 1-1 for Teddy so far this season. The Swain, though, probably the best of his awesome dudes. The Vladimir combos, they haven't quite been working for Jin Air as a group of 5. But it is a fun matchup, like you mentioned. Songyun and Teddy can both be match winners on their day. Speaking of their day, we'll see where the fans are at, and they seem to just be going for the royalty of Hanwha Life Esports rather than their recent struggles. They're not believing in the Glad Plane today.
Yep, they're looking at Hanwha to try and bounce back now against Jin Air GreenWings, and on paper, I think that is where the smart money's at. You know, if you're on a betting website or something like that, pretty sure odds are going to be in favor of Hanwha Life taking this series. However, the Glad Plane does crop up when you least expect it. Like that victory, like you say, famous one against Kingzone more recently. So if the Jin Air GreenWings have found themselves some good mentality, moving into this match against a potentially floundering Hanwha Life is an opportunity to snag themselves a win.
We're ready for plenty of League of Legos today. 1 series down, 2 more to go. Rolling into picks and bans. If you're joining us late, you did miss our first best of 3 of the day. You might think, why is LCK starting 20 minutes late? It's because we've already had 3 games. SK Telecom T1, 2-1 victors over BBQ. Still on patch 8.13. The meta does roll through a little bit. The Orianna priority is the most noticeable thing in this week of LCK. And we'll see if Hanwha Life and Jin Air are competing for the Orianna pick.
And interestingly enough, the Galio are going to be banned on the blue side by Hanwha Life. Lava, the man who debuted the pick after the rework, is Aatrox, of course, going to be the first ban on the red side. Where do Hanwha go when they have the flexibility in the first round of bans?
Unclear so far if Hanwha Life is banning Galio because of Jin Air strategies or because it counters their strategy. And sometimes we only know at the end of a draft. I see Hanwha Life banning Galio and also the Tahm Kench, and the chances of Songwon's Elise go up because those are 2 champions that do well against a pick comp.
Yeah, always excited. You've always got to keep your eye on the potential Songwon Elise.
He's the only one willing to play it, and he is a master of the Elise over a couple of metas. Songwon's definitely the one I want to see on some aggressive picks, as some of the recent games been a little bit sad out of Hanwha Life Esports.
They have indeed.
So the final ban will be the Swain already banned away on Jin Air's side. So are we opting into Talia and friends being open? Or are we banning them away? The Rakan is actually going to be the ban, and Xayah Rakan red side in the first round is increasingly becoming pretty attractive for many teams on the Rift.
Yeah, we've seen Xayah Rakan actually take the wins, I think 3 games in a row that they've been a part of, including yesterday's match. KT winning over Gen G with exactly the combination in the late game as well, which was just astounding, as Talia has been left up and Jin Air banned the Morgana. Songwon, is he going to go to that coveted jungler that's seen bans all the time? And it feels like a no-brainer. Looks like Hanwha Life are going to lock it in. And does Umti have a plan? Does he have something that he thinks he can take into the Talia to counter it? Not entirely sure, unless Jin Air want to really angle and double down on the Shen Nocturne.
The thing is, though, Jin Air actually won a series very recently going for these combo Shen Nocturne draws that a lot of teams have lost on. If you remember, we've seen BBQ, we've seen FLICKR lose with GP Shen Nocturne, which strikes fear into most enemies. But Jin Air won with it against MVP in their last series that they played, so I actually don't mind them returning to it. Teams have gotten a lot better at respecting the globals that were dominating the first couple of weeks of the LCK, but there is still a degree of inevitability if the execution is perfect on the Jin Air side. So we will get some fireworks when the Ninja and also the Beast from the Jungle hit level 6.
And also, you're talking about globals. I feel like if Jin Air go to Sowon's undefeated Gangplank as well on the top side of the map, it could be an option as Songwon.
The timing here is a bit eerie. We have seen a 2v2 Kai'Sa, but Hanwha Life also like a bit of cheese if they can get it. Braum would be the one following here if they were enacting Plan Cheese.
The Morgana was banned, so Jin Air did have the idea that Hanwha might try and funnel something. But where is Lava's ban going to go? The Braum. Okay. We funneling, boys. There we go. Braum locked away, most likely for Songwon, even though he hasn't changed his summoners just yet. But of course, it could not be. We'll see what actually happens. As Grace, what is he going to take away?
Been a while since the funnel comp was used. We saw 2 games in a row that were losses for Griffin against Afrika Freaks last week. First visit to a final comp here. Again, not 100% guaranteed, but seeming increasingly likely.
The Vladimir makes a lot of sense. I like the Shen Vladimir lane. Gives Shen some more safety, trying to lane into a potential 2v2 that might be a weird one from Hanwha Life Esports, given the fact that Jin Air have a pretty predictable funnel ban strategy that they can now employ.
Has the damage been done already, though, is the question. It's always what you always wonder. We knew that the funnel comp would crop up again from time to time. Theoretically, it might be disincentivized by the 8.14 change as to how experience works with jungle items, but that is a next week quandary. This week still on 8.13. No changes means that the funnel still very, very viable, but it could just be a straight-up Kai'Sa Braum bot lane and misdirection from the side of Hanwha Life. Banning away the Talon here. Lava been one of the big mid-lane Talon players with Smite. Grace also played a game on it.
Yep. Grace has had a bit of experience with the Talon, but only 1 game so far, as Jin Air now thinking about what their final ban is going to be. Here up against Hanwha Life. The Mundo doesn't necessarily target funnel super well, but we've seen a lot of Mundos picked into it as the Yasuo to be taken away.
Solo lanes ostensibly could still be selected on both sides, depending on what the Talia is doing. Could be a Talia lane for all we know.
Yeah, it could be Lava.
Waiting to see. Hanwha Life have had interviews where they've said that they don't trust Songwon to play the jungle Talia at the start of the season, but that's now a month ago, and Songwon, as an aggressive-minded jungler, does fit into the archetype of a Talia player. See a Zoe ban here, so they are coverage bans if it's going to be a mid-lane Talia, but it could also be bans against the funnel as well. As we're going Orianna, which does suggest even more engage, but also some passivity in the early game that the funnel comp might be able to do its business against.
Well, Jin Air have got one hell of an engage comp now.
Eventually.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, level 6 has to be hit. There needs to be some items onto Grace as well, but like you were saying, I mean, Lava should be the one playing the Talia if Hanwha Life are going to be funneling, because of course, that would mean that the Braum has to go into the hands of Songwon. But what are Hanwha Life going to do? The Rise is going to be picked up. That could be a Sungyun champion.
Yeah. Good against the Vladimir in the bot lane.
Where does the Kai'Sa go?
We're unclear if that's so far, Atlas. We're unsure of what Hanwha Life is doing. They haven't done the Telltale swap Songwon summoners yet.
Yeah.
So that leaves us many questions we do not have answers to. See what Hanwha Life end on. Remember, even if they just go Kai'Sa Braum first round, it does pose questions that could have affected Jin's draft. They end the draft with a Jace, which will most likely be top lane. When it comes to a true jungler, who would you say is the closest to a jungler here on the side of Hanwha Life? I guess the Talia. I guess it would be Songwon.
Yeah, I
so
guess.
Maybe it's just standard lanes here with some misdirection on the Kai'Sa.
Well, it looks like there is only one support being picked up by Hanwha Life. So thankfully, we haven't revisited the funnel over the side of Hanwha Life. Is okay. There's a Malphite. This is the most team fight comp I think I've seen in a very long time.
Definitely only does one thing, which unfortunately means you miss that thing and things can go bad. I know you're opening your mouth because you're excited to see if we will get our first LPL-style bot lane Orianna.
Yeah.
This was debuted by Y4, but I don't know if this is the spot to do so. We're going to wait and see what Jin Air want to do. You do have the chance to get very frisky. Put that Orianna in the bot lane, as was shown over in the LPL. Waiting for the last second here.
I think that Teddy's probably the best Vladimir player on the team, and that is going to be what they stick with. So Teddy playing the Hemomancer on the bottom side, and Sungyun and Key, a dangerous laning phase, potentially, but that's a Shen. Doesn't offer a whole lot in the early stages, so may have dodged some difficulty. Hanwha Life with just so much damage as this game goes on, but not necessarily synergistical damage, whereas on the other side, it's Jin Air just wanting to wombo your face off.
But the thing is, if the wombo doesn't work, they really don't do anything else well. The Jace will push down some turrets in the side lane. The Siege is not going to necessarily be fantastic either. And if the wombo is flashed away from, Kai'Sa rolls up and can do a lot of work as well. So it feels like Hanwha Life can do more things, but Jin Air do one thing really well. However, we talked about this in our first series. You start getting a big gold lead, the wombo doesn't have the oomph behind it. Maybe the wombo isn't even enough to find meaningful inroads. So it's definitely a risk whenever you go full into one identity, but damn, have they committed.
They have certainly committed. We'll see whether the Nocturne is going to be able to navigate the early game. That's going to be the question against the Talia. It always is. She's so damn strong. Can Songwon play it? Let's find out as we get into game one. Well, the crowd is certainly thin since our first series of the day. However, the dedicated fans certainly here.
We know where they are. They're standing in the queue, hoping to get a picture with FLICKR and SKT. But they could always come join us afterwards if they can grab tickets for this second match. Not sold out here. Sangam East Stadium, but the Hanwha Life faithful, they have shown it.
Yeah, Songwon fans. There in the audience, possibly going to see Songwon on a power pick here and potentially able to get work done here in the early game. Late game insurance policy is going to be Sungyun on the Kai'Sa. We saw Deft just basically blind picking it into Gen G, not caring at all. And it paid off yesterday. Is it going to pay off for Hanwha Life Esports is the question now.
I really am a fan of when they drafted it, because even we felt that sinking feeling when we saw the Braum and the Kai'Sa taken. Jin Air couldn't have known exactly where it would be, so one's going to take some free damage.
Yeah, someone's going to join him here as well. Threaded volley, everything landing. There's half the health bar now onto Songwon's Malphite.
Late invade is a topside start for the Nocturne, and seems like he's going to be out without a red buff.
Yeah.
Playing around Jace's power, always a good way to go, and this could be vertical jungling or a 3-buff from Hanwha Life, depending on where Omti paths to next after the Raptors, which is doing exceedingly slowly, as we can see.
Yeah. Songwon also doing this red buff relatively slowly as well. Going to use the smite on his first camp, as vision is given over of Omti.
Don't die on me, Atlas. I need you.
Yeah.
The water went down the wrong hole there.
It did, just a little bit. I had to have a sip, guys.
Well, Omti decided to try to take the Krugs. It's a pretty low-value camp, and Songwon says, excuse me, I have a red buff and am Talia, jungling around the power of his Jace.
Well, stopping him here as well is also wasting the time of the Talia. And both of them, level 2, have taken one camp, so it's going to be Omti finally able to get back onto his. Got a bit more of a walk if he wants to get over to his wolf camp.
Scuttle into blue buff, very likely, if that's what the Taliyah wants, but instead, Songwon is getting frisky.
He is. He has hit level 2, looks for the seismic shove, doesn't land it, and Grace is going to get out of the way of the majority of the threaded volley there as well. So nicely done. Sungyun and Key going to be able to take down the Rift Scuttler on the bottom side. Bit of extra money going over to the Kai'Sa. Always good news.
Someone's going for just every buff on the map. He's taken enemy red, and now he's taking enemy blue. Nocturne has no idea where he is, and it could happen. This could be a buffless game, at least for the first round, but does diagnose and say, well, I'm not 100% sure where the enemy is. I think he's bot side. He's right in this case, and he should get a blue buff.
Yeah. We'll see where the Songwon is actually spotted. There's no wards down here at all, of course. In fact, that Grace didn't leave when he was overextended in the mid lane. Should be able to take this blue buff, so at least he gets one.
They're actually going to collapse onto him here. is in a hell of a lot of trouble.
Well, it does have the flash available to him, and thankfully, not a lot of, options as far as vision. So Hanwha Life give up, and Umti's even going to be able to get a Rift Scuttle, so things are okay.
They didn't want to waste three people's time to make an invader. They didn't know for sure he was there. Linderang's probably going to be surprised when Umti shows up behind them.
Yeah, it's going to get slowed down. Immediately uses the flash, but is it enough as the Terrify comes in? Songwon comes down, and that could have saved it. First blood over to Umti. Jinna on the board.
Man, the Shifts in the Night situation was so perilously close on both sides. 3 people commit to the Rift Scuttle there. They find Umti to get a blue buff and a Rift Scuttle. Instead, Umti walks topside. They're not sure he was there. He is there. He gets the kill, and the first good moment for Jinna after so much good early jungling from the side of Songwon.
Yeah, and what were we talking about with the Jace in our last series? It was put him behind in his build path. Again, we've got a double Doran's Jace coming in from Linderang, who wants to double down on having this advantage. Remember, death timers, not too much of a problem. So Songwon unable to get this wave to the turret, and now it's in an absolutely horrid position for any Malphite to deal with.
Malphite's going to go back. He's going to endure. We saw Maha play this top lane for MVP. When ADD, of course, couldn't play and Maha was subbed in. He went Randuin's. I think you desperately need Sunfire Cape to have any semblance of lane control against a Jace. And obviously, you're not going to have first push priority, but you're going to have something against the Jace. If you go Sunfire Cape, if you go straight Randuin's, you're going to have a bad time. So I imagine it's going to be the Sunfire pieced together by Songwon, close to his namesake, is on the bot side.
He is going to be backing here. As you can see, Jinna playing very respectfully of this Joy Lane bottom side. Teddy also wanting to scale a little bit, but will hit his stride a little bit earlier than that of the Kai'Sa, who does want to grab a few items to upgrade all of her abilities.
I want to revisit again the draft of the Kai'Sa Braum in the first round. As we mentioned, sinking feeling, it's going to be a funnel. Didn't turn out to be funnel. And of course, Jinna couldn't know for sure that they had to draft a really punishing 2v2. Instead, it was Hanwha Life saying, let's threaten a funnel, take Kai'Sa Braum against just Shen. Ended up being Shed Vladimir. Shen Vladimir is not a duo lane that's going to punish a Kai'Sa particularly hard, and we saw Kai'Sa get through lane yesterday against Gen G. The double pop over. Umti's here, but only so much he can do.
Yeah, Songwon gets some information, but there's the Rune Prison. He flashes. Terrify almost there, so Songwon is going to be at least half health, but this dive could still happen. Remember, the spell shield's on cooldown. Oh god! Songwon just gets destroyed. Dustbringer is going to do it. Lava has to flash and cleanse. No, doesn't have the cleanse, but does have to flash to get out of the way. And Jinna turned it all around.
What a disaster. Just a quick turn into a kill from Sowon. See hero, kill hero goes the Malphite. They return to the mid lane. Orianna wasn't there. No problem. Jinna GreenWings 2-0.
Yeah, Umti's just somehow navigated this matchup gloriously well. Basically has paranoia now and has a huge lead. Moves himself out of the way here. So you can see just flashes, and now Hanwha probably should know that they can't really get in here and get on the top, but
the play starts when Sowon's level 5. He hits 6 and they don't reevaluate, and level 4 Taliyah dies instantly. The minion wave isn't tanking, so awkwardly Lava takes aggro. Goes down as well. Hanwha Life, they return to the Scuttle. This will be the second Scuttle we've seen Sungyun pick up. There's plenty of Scuttle Crab control for usually the funneling duo, but now just a bot lane duo of the Kai'Sa and the Braum. Kai'Sa's still free farming, so that's still a good news story for Hanwha Life, but Umti's kind of living a charmed life where he's not getting punished as much as it first appears, and his team's getting kills around him.
And now, Umpty might be in a position where if Paranoia is off cooldown, he just kills Songwon by himself if he ever sees her walking around the jungle. Really dangerous times here for Hanwha in the matchup that we thought would be incredibly Hanwha favored.
And now the Wombo comp has hit their timings early, so that means the Wombo is certainly something that you have to respect on the side of Hanwha Life. Good lane ward, oh sorry, I should say Gromp ward does spot Umpty.
Yep,
They don't have like an Ashe or anything to spot it out early, so they do need to go for all these wards on camps. Just teleport onto the minion here coming up, and is it going to be a double teleport? No, it's just the Braum. It is double teleport. Yeah, it is a double teleport with 3-manning topside.
All right, we're just going to get in here and take down first brick. Wanting to accelerate the game is Hanwha Life Esports. They have a huge wave that was just stocked up by Linderong. Okay, this is one way to artificially create yourself a lead.
Sungyun and Key were both laning with teleport. Key has the unsealed spellbook to switch over to the exhaust. They knew Nocturne was bot side, so why not get away from Wombo by teleporting to the Malphite and taking the first turret? Well, after 5 minutes, so the reinforcements are down on this top lane turret that were put there, of course, many moons ago to stop lane swaps. The later lane swap is still possible, and they just take the gold, they go back to bot side, they still got their turret.
Yeah, everyone backed on the side of Jinna. They did deny a minion wave, and there's certainly a lot to be said of the teleport being utilized by Sungyun as well, but I mean, it's not much of a thing to give up for Hanwha to grab yourself first brick and put yourself about 100 gold in the lead after it was a 0-2 sum game.
But the moment that Sungyun teleports as well, and there's 3+, end up being 4 members there, so Talia was there as well. If you're Teddy and Nova, who take turrets exceedingly slow in the early game, as Vladimir Shen, at best, it's going to be a 2-for-1. They respect that and that, crap, we don't want to lose 2 turrets in the top side. Malphite will never be able to actually control the wave, push it, and roam. Our Wombo will never happen. We have to rotate, and then Hanwha Life to say, actually, thank you very much. We're going to go back to a short lane with our Kai'Sa Braum, and we get the first blood turret. So Hanwha Life, with their rotational play, actually get everything at the cost of nothing.
Yeah, and also they've got Soan, who's built a Barmy Cinder and will have a really rough time trying to freeze any lane as well, given the fact that he burns these minions down. So Linderong will have a wave to pick up and farm. That was why I was hanging around in the mid lane. Had to overextend if he wanted to get to that minion wave. Not going to worry about it at all.
Tricky stuff, and Hanwha Life are always one of these teams with the unsealed spellbook era to take a lot of turrets. It's Umpty's dead.
Yeah. See you later, mate. Songwon going to be able to pick up kill credit for that one. Just really good camping timing. Hanwha Life Esports easily destroy the 2-0 Nocturne and should be able to get themselves a Rift Herald as well.
Well, Umpty led a charmed life, so he was overdue for being just womboed down and killed instantly after some of the luck he had in the early game when it came to pathing. Some of it was good fortune, some of it was also his smart plays. Never mind, he'll go back, he'll come back. He's got the paranoia. We'll see if that first paranoia can make something happen because they've got the Shen, they've got the Nocturne. But so far, we haven't seen those two paired together for a big pick onto Hanwha Life.
Also, haven't seen a Shockwave. Level 9 is Grace. Now, Songwon's going to be able to take down this Rift Herald very easily. And yes, some bloopers in the early game from the Talia, but able to set up in the right position. Hanwha Life with so much control. As Soan actually not going to find the Glacial Shard onto anyone.
Seems like we're seeing the new build come out once again from the Kai'Sa. It's been played in the LPL and in the LCK. The Storm Razor as the first item here. A bit of burst for your first item, and also gets you 75 AD of the way towards your Q evolve. When it comes to his team applying Plasma, Deft, for example, yesterday had everyone with hard CC, so he's just setting up, just sitting there and getting the explosion on that missing health damage every time. Not quite the same story on the side of Hanwha Life. Definitely Lava has on command, and Braum also some on command ability to proc the Plasma. Not so much with the Jace, but it's all about tempo for Hanwha Life. The moment you saw them double teleport topside, they have the Rift Herald at 10 minutes as well. It's all about taking down the turrets, getting a lot of gold in the game, showing up with 2-item Kai'Sa, and also the ability to play side lanes so strongly. And if they can get a Baron out of it, there may just never be 4 members clumped up for Malphite Orianna, the Bronze Exodia, to actually take advantage of.
And also, the Umpty on top with the Paranoia to make his way in.
How about a Vladimir?
Well, how about an Unstoppable Force, and a Shen, and a Nocturne, and a dead Jace? Umpty's going to jump right on top of him. That is what this composition can do. And they might be able to transition even into this outer turret on the top side of the map. Teddy just clearing out minion waves, but has to use the Sanguine Pool. Thankfully, there's no Ignite onto Sungyun, and he is going to get some health
ghosted.
back.
He's really feeling this.
Well, Teddy predated, so that's going to be the trade-off.
And remember, this trade is happening with them trying to take a turret, and there's Rift Herald and a Kai'Sa pushing. This could still be a negative tempo trade for the side of Jinet.
Well, of course, HLE was picked up, and that means that this tower could go down as Umti and So-On are at least able to grab their first turret of the game on the top side of the map. But Grace now has a very long lane, and he's an Orianna who doesn't like very long lanes.
Not going to see all the time spent by the Kai'Sa on the bot lane turret. Didn't see the HP. I assume it's fine. So going to be a back timing for Kai'Sa. Go back and pick up some more items. I believe just picked up the stopwatch there on the purchase. Yeah. Not 100% clear if it was there before. I don't believe so.
No, it wasn't, and doesn't have inspiration. So that's just 600 gold that's been spent.
I mean, you look at the enemy team, and stopwatch has just the most incredible value if it's timed right. Sungyun ready for an outplay. If he's able to use his ultimate, could also dodge some skill shots. We don't really see that used from the Kai'Sa in the summer season. Prey in the final had some great dodges, you'll remember at the LCK summer final. Before funnel happened, he just used the ult to get a quadra kill.
There is a lot of value that's come out of that particular control ward that spotted out the red buff by Umti.
Fire cape there from So-On's going for a much more conventional build here, and I imagine Frozen Heart will be picked up at some point onto the Malphite.
Fair bit of value out of that one. As Linderung's going to be doing some auto attacks. It's all going to be about Sungyun in the late game. Trying to stop that Kai'Sa from getting the work done is the aim of the game. Teddy quietly farming on the bottom side of the map. Does have himself a deficit of about 7 minions, something like that. Nothing to worry about. It's the global gold going in the way of Hanwha Life that is going to start becoming a problem as this Kai'Sa gets further and further accelerated. And Umti is just getting spotted by Vision all across the map.
Whenever you have a Kai'Sa in a 2v2 lane, it's all about the sleight of hand, and even the funnel is a bit about sleight of hand. Get Kai'Sa relevant in as low risk a way as possible by teleporting to top lane to be involved in the first turret blood, by surprising and ending up with a Vladimir Shen duo rather than a more punishing lane. The Kai'Sa is going to hit her items, and global gold means Kai'Sa picks up more gold. So Kai'Sa, that has been their big thing here. Hanwha Life has been able to come online, and it's going to be very interesting to see the team fights where Jinet are going to be pressing all their buttons and trying to click on Sungyun super furiously, and Hanwha Life, the flash and also the stasis keeps him alive, can potentially turn around if those buttons don't find their man.
Well, if he doesn't dodge all of them with one button, then it could be a problem, because they've got lots of different options to come in. Of course, the Hemo play going to be a little bit delayed, but Teddy does have something to offer this as well, but Shockwave, Paranoia, Unstoppable Force, as well as the taunt coming in from Nova to potentially start it up pretty instantly as well, could mean that he's just CC'd for the entire duration and dead.
Doesn't have Guardian on Key, because Key wanted to be involved in the teleports, so it doesn't have the Tahm Kench that I'm sure every Kai'Sa is looking for.
Yeah. Was actually banned away pretty early, as it was second ban from Hanwha Life.
Oh, I didn't even notice. So-On went for lane presence here with Qmax. In the past, this has been a choice when, I believe it was Gimgoon debuted the top lane Malphite into Camille matchup. That was Qmax Comet Malphite. This is Qmax just to not always be in a scenario where Jace has a huge health lead, but does mean that his AoE wave clear is a bit lower.
Yeah, does have that Comet as well available to him. So-On probably pretty comfortable at this stage of the matchup, and you can see that it has been translated over to the Malphite as well, given the CS has reached relative parity. A couple of deaths on the J, certainly good news for Jinet fans. But even as you like, everywhere on this map, even in the jungle, even on the dang Relic Shield supports, we have basically even CS.
Which to me does suit the Kai'Sa comp, but not to a huge extent, because the Kai'Sa can be exploded by the Jinet comp. Getting forward vision against the Wombo comp is so important. That ward, of course, going to be communicated by Nova, but anything to ensure that one of the tools is used suboptimally, and thus the chances of the true Wombo happening are decreased, is what Hanwha Life are craving. Songwon been a bit of a passenger after a very early active game.
Not going to be able to clear out that particular ward. We had a bit of a trade in control wards. It's immediately happening again as Sungyun takes a bit of damage from Teddy, but Teddy also going to take some fired back, gets under his turret safely.
Sungyun's not at a huge item timing, because he doesn't have 100 AD yet. Of course, not the attack speed either. So just about the Storm Razor. Nothing on top of it, no pickaxe, for example.
Well, Grace, doesn't get the shockwave and may actually be instantly punished. No, not going to find any more threaded volleys from Songwon. But it's not a great sign having your first shockwave whiff.
Definitely seemed a little bit slow on the play. Grace was a frequent Orianna player in the past. Not so much over the course of this year. Linderang comes to the top side, continues to push. Hasn't found inroads onto an inner turret just yet. Seen the teleport, but just back to lane for the Kai'Sa, and now finally the 100 AD mark is hit by Sungyun.
Yeah, has himself the recurve bow on top of it as well as Sowon. He's picked up a stinger. We've got Trinity Force Malphite coming in. He wants to just kill the Jace, I guess.
I understand it in the Camille matchup, where Malphite does win at those two items, Trinity Force and the Sunfire Cape. Against a ranged attacker, I think it's going to be a little bit difficult. But I'm excited to watch the side lane, because for once, Linderang might actually be held accountable, even though he's on Jace.
Yeah, Sowon has been certainly playing more of the aggressive types. His Ornn and Mundo have been sneaking up there, but it's got a couple of games on the GP, the Renekton, the Aatrox, things like that. Darius on 6 is most played, of course. This game's so incredibly close as we move towards 20 minutes. Umpty wanting to avoid any seismic shoves.
Cloud Drake being the first spawn means that no one has actually attempted to pick it up.
That's my favorite part of the game so far. Just boops the old Gromp over the wall. That ain't very nice. Thankfully, that means he survives.
Should we name this Gromp? It has lived a charmed life.
Alright, there's Teddy taking down to half health, but no seismic shove, no dice when it comes to the kill. Some void being spread, as Umpty's going to tank that one, but he ain't going to be ulting into the middle of 3 people as the Kai'Sa, so not too much of a worry.
Shockwave isn't super powered yet. Ludens and the Oblivion Orb does have double magic pen, so some oomph there, but base damage on the Shockwave, not massive. And the Malphite's more interested in walking up and whacking away on the Jace, so for now, the tools are not actually put together.
Yeah, certainly not in full force, as Nova also down to about a 3rd health. Trying to fight for vision here is Jinair, but wandering over a lot of it.
Shen support in scenarios like this actually has the kind of... It's a very indirect advantage for a melee support, but he has the ability to dash over walls, to put down vision, and he also, if he gets chunked out, can always recall, get full health, and be back into the fight instantly with the ultimate. That's a very rare thing for support. You think of Tahm Kench, who is similar, but has to Abyssal Voyage back and has fixed range. The Shen can take his whole health bar, but as long as his warding mission is done and he gets his recall off, you don't really feel the impact, because with the ult, he can always be right back there.
Yeah. Well, Nova still going to be hanging around, still has full health now. He managed to make his way back in. Everything is fine. It's all cool, calm, and collected. As the Phage now picked up for Sowon, and the goal. One more item to go, that Sheen, before that Trinity Force is going to be online. He has almost caught up completely to Linderang. All teleports available apart from the bottom laners. Sungyun and Teddy still waiting for theirs, but Jinair still just piling around this dragon.
I feel like our latest first Drake was around 22 to 24 minutes this season. I don't believe we've had one taken after 25 minutes.
Our latest one today was about 17 minutes, and it felt very, very late as well. I completely understand.
Finally started up. Now the Wombo controls the pit. So how do Hanwha Life problem solve this one?
Well, it is just going to be stolen. Because Umpty didn't have smite. That's a way to do it.
One good turn deserves another.
Well, that's a pretty easy way of doing it as well, as I believe the Plasma landed on the Drake at the same time as the threaded volley, so...
I know the shove was used as well. I'm not sure which of the two skills actually killed it, if it was Q or a W, but happy times. They get the Drake in the most unlikely of ways.
Doing Dragon with Smite is generally a good idea, by the way, guys. Just a PSA. Should probably have that one. As Umpty now sets up shop on the top side, and they've been loitering around that dragon for a very long time. Now wondering what the next port of call is going to be for Jin Air GreenWings.
I very much appreciate your use of the term loitering, because it did feel like they shouldn't be there. If there was a mall cop, they would tell them to move along. Because they weren't actually committing to it, Atlas. They weren't going to buy anything. They were very clearly poisers, so loitering, good term.
Thank you, thank you. Been doing this for quite some time. It's about time I get one word right. Zumpty is going to continue farming things out. Thankfully, he does have his Duskblade of Drakthar to spot all these pesky wards that he was running all over earlier on, as Soan jumps down toward the bottom side to watch his outer turret die. And that's going to go down very easily. As Lava, he turns up. Soan has to use his ultimate to get out of the way.
Gonna get away for now is Soan. Got 10% CDR from the Stinger, but doesn't have the 20% from the Sheen into Trinity Force just yet. Well, he's back.
Yeah, now has to use the flash in order to escape, as that seismic shove was definitely going to pick up the rock and throw him back in, as now Hanwha Life with 3 members bottom side looking to try and bully down this turret. Looks like they should be able to. Someone has to flash out of the shockwave, and Linderon gets taunted up and actually goes extra far based on that fact. Teddy jumps in the backline. Instant double kill is now Paranoia to deliver him on top of this rise. He gets slowed down by the shard as Soan dodges out of the way of the Q and wanders in to help Umpty grab the 3rd kill of the fight. Beautifully done by Jin Air.
Hanwha Life just spent this game never having to deal with all the globals and initiation from Jin Air. It's almost like they forgot it existed. Walked up, started auto-attacking in 500 range, and then seemed surprised they were so well collapsed upon. That's what Jin Air's comp does well. And now Jin Air with a 5-2 champion lead with the 3 people in the Death Chamber. They'll get, at minimum, a bit of control around the Baron, but crucially, they don't get the big objective.
And that was only 3 out of 5 of the globals as well, Papa. I mean, not necessarily globals, but Hemoplague wasn't used, and then Stand United also remains off cooldown, so this could be even worse.
And let's consider what Hanwha know. They know that no one is actually there at the enemy red buff, but they don't really know anything else about where the Orianna is. They were surprised by the ball coming over the wall. 2 members go down. Umpty says, well, not going to miss a smite on this one. Puts it down onto the rise, kills him. They pick it up. All too easy for Jin Air.
Yeah, very nicely done. Now 6-1 in kills. But, hiccups or no, that is going to be 300 gold only, the lead for Jin Air.
It was certainly a hiccup from Hanwha Life, though. So I appreciate you. That's a real big commitment to the cast, actually having hiccups while a team starts hiccuping.
I know. I mean, it was the first hiccup, so I had to hiccup. That's how it goes.
Speaking of hiccups.
Yeah, this is well and truly a hiccup. As Sungyun, he's going to go invisible, and now realizes that, okay, Unstoppable Force comes down. Linderong just explodes. How many Hanwha Life esports members does it take to take down a Shen is the question. Doesn't take many to get rid of the Braum, who fell before that Hemoplague now, as Teddy just wants to play cleanup all day. Sungyun dodges out of the way of at least the Shockwave, but can't take a ball to the face, as Grace picks up that kill easily. Jin Air don't even need the Wombo. They just need everyone to press their buttons.
It's a 5-1 when they press their buttons. They're all dead on the side of Hanwha Life. They're definitely going to get this bot lane turret. Not the biggest objective ever, but this is some feel-good moments for Jin Air GreenWings.
And all of a sudden, Soan's Trinity Force Malphite looks like the most god-tier pick in the universe.
Good news, he's at 9 stacks of the Dank Seal as well.
Oh no.
He's ready to go.
He's even stacking the AP.
Man, gotta say, Malphite, even with just a Sunfire Cape, really takes negative damage.
Yeah.
The dodge field is god tier also, not quite onto Sungyun, but decreasing damage one way or the other. They all come in one by one. Hurrah, hurrah, says the Glad Plane. That has come in. Beautiful Hemoplague used by Teddy, and they're all in the Death Chamber.
They are. It was a good flash to get Sungyun out of the way of the Shockwave. However, Grace, he can move his ball after that as well and easily locks down the kill. 2-0-5 for the Orianna. We might see one of our first Oriannas that actually manages to have a devastating Shockwave in a game where he may not necessarily need to, because everybody else has so much damage as well.
Well, Umpty's shouting again.
Well, Linderong's dead again, as there's an Unstoppable Force. That insult to injury. Someone's angry.
10 stacks, baby. He's ready to go.
Get that Magi, Someone. You deserve it. He's got that sweet hood as well.
And remember, this is all after Hanwha Life played the sleight of hand to get Kai'Sa to a certain item timing. You give enough kills to Malphite and Nocturne, let alone the Orianna who's been chipping away, the Vladimir who also has been chipping away. Someone surely has to kill the Kai'Sa and invalidate all the gold that has gone onto her. They got targeted abilities to fly in there. Hanwha Life have to play this in a really tricky fashion. The moment they stopped 1-3-1ing, they started dying.
They did. And Sungyun at least has his 2 items, but now they're 2-12 in kills. It's 4,000 gold the lead for Jin, who are now just trying to open the map. And you can see how dark it is on the side of Hanwha. All of the red wards are littering everywhere. And you've got 3 people camping a brush on a red buff that isn't there, giving away an Infernal Drake.
To be fair, Sungwon is really good at being unmoving on a brush. Did it on Nocturne last time we watched, where he chilled on the top brush. They're still there. They are the kings of just battling the lever buster.
Yeah, well, there's actually...
When do you get kicked? When?
Oh, so on. He's looking for it. Looks like this matchup works out for the Malphite, Papa, as they even had the Stand Unite. They're pressing buttons for no reason, but still, they're getting the picks.
They're smart, though. They move. They understand. Lever buster won't get them now. They're going to be queuing up for another game in just a few moments. Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because they've done absolutely nothing and watched their top laner die twice in the space of 5 minutes. That's been the move. That's the battle plan.
Look, I'll put it this way.
Oh, they're still there.
People compliment me when I talk about the things I've heard from the pros and what I've seen in Korean solo queue. I've seen this move from Hanwha Life in Korean solo queue. My team usually loses shortly afterwards.
Well, it netted nothing, and Grace just didn't throw his ball very far. Hanwha Life make their way back in, and Jin go, well, I wonder if they actually were sitting in that brush for that whole time. They won't know until they get to watch the VOD after this series.
You'll never expect what Hanwha Life Esports does next.
Well, I think it'll involve Songwon in a brush. Probably going to make a cup of tea or something like that. I'm not sure what he was doing. We can't actually... Oh, we can. We can see the Hanwha Life boys. So next time they're just camping out like that, we'll let you know exactly what they look like.
You guys are wondering, Hanwha Life B is in the studio.
Thank goodness. Oh no, we're doing it again. Quickly, let's look over. They look like they're still playing seriously. So no one's got up to leave. We have no toilet issues or anything like that.
Omti did face check them earlier, so they're hoping to recreate
It's worked once, and what works once should work again, as Nova was considering another face check as well. But
one time it had 100% win rate.
It did, until it had 50%.
Independent events, still 100%.
Oh, that's true, that's true. In that one time it had 100%.
Oh!
Here we go!
Yeah!
Beyblades! There we go. No home guards for you, Lava. The second most exciting thing to happen. I like how it disappeared halfway through. Is Realm Walk going to come down? So on. Oh, that almost got rid of his passive with that Shock Blast.
This game went real silly.
It went real fun, though.
It's what we wanted from our 4th game of the day. First game of the second series. Jin don't even know what's been happening. We know. Only with the map packs can we know.
What is up with all your clickbait comments? Can we name the VOD?
The results may surprise you.
Yeah. Hanwha Life lost the game, but how they lost might surprise you.
Trinity Force full AP Malphite.
Yeah.
Game Elo.
Oh, man. Oh, the adaptation of the Trinity Force augmented by the adaptive helm. I like it. Jin, they want to find another engage, guys. That's what we're waiting for. Hanwha Life Esports trying to play around vision that they have. And they have at least been able to push out some minions. So one has to spend his time on the bottom side of the map. There is a 0-6 Jace in this game. Yesterday, we were looking at Jace going, oh, this is a power pick. How does it ever lose? And now, we're looking at Jace going, did he really have to pick this?
So Hanwha Life are famous for their internal scrims. What the hell is happening in the internal scrims? How does the coach VOD review about, I don't understand, it worked against our B squad.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Jin, you know, they've been playing the honest game of, well, let's press all our buttons, they seem to be working. And the Malphite is beast, been able to build magic resist. Now Temp's not moving, but that's in service of a Predator gank.
Yeah, we're looking for the Teddy flank. He's been real good at it in the past, as we've got Gathering Storms on Sungyun and Lava. We're playing for the late game, and good God, they're going to have to. Approaching a 5,000 gold lead here for Jin, as they probably do need to clear out vision around this Baron Pit, because I believe if Hanwha Life tries to face check them, they die pretty instantly. So it would make a lot of sense to try and get around here, and that's what they're going to do right now. Control Ward Vision available on the blue buff as well. As guys, you've spotted the jungler on a ward. just go put your face in the Baron pit.
Jin Air have been very reticent to commit to Barons. So
They have.
even when ahead, which hasn't been the most games, they have struggled to actually finish off the Baron. So wait to see when they actually leash it. I think right now they're calling for the sick Predator gank, but Vladimir is busy pushing in the minion waves.
They've just hit such amazing item timings with the Guardian Angel being completed, Grace on 3 items. We've spoken about Orianna 3 items forever. Basically since the inception of Orianna as a champion to be played as in goes Songyun, and he just gets shockwaved, and that is a Killer Instinct that's now on cooldown and didn't net very much. Apart from the ultimate from Grace, it's going to be up relatively soon.
Ideal cooldowns, I think. Identical cooldowns between the two. It's not the biggest cooldown on Killer Instinct. Level 2. They back away. While I get a cooldown out of Grace. They wanted to flash. They didn't get it.
The scary thing is it's information given over to Teddy. And if he was in position for that flank, it could have been an opportunity for the Vladimir to jump on top. Now, vision being given over is, okay, so just wanders over. Now we're going to be able to get rid of that ward.
Teddy really wants to play.
Yeah, he loves
We've seen him attempt to do some nice flanks, but unfortunately not be able to have the items behind it. He's got the items this time. He's on the run.
Yeah.
Running man,
Teddy
Vladimir.
on the run. Oh, Shock Blast. Spots out Teddy.
Now he's out of position.
Wants to get himself over there. Does have Predator available, so he can get in there pretty quickly. Oh, there we go. It was Jin Air making sure they could get a Rift Scholar. That was the plan. They do lock it down. As Teddy has inside track over here to this minion wave. We'll be able to follow it towards the inner turret.
Inside tracks, though.
Could this be the trade is the question. Not wanting to go for any sort of base race given the fact that they don't have an AD carry. They trade inner turret for inner turret very easily. Hanwha Life, they could have actually pushed further forward and possibly gotten an inhibitor turret.
Despite the amazing things we've seen this game, Hanwha Life can still win Atlas.
Yeah, they can.
So they walk over to an Infernal.
Man, that would certainly help your clickbait.
That would. The results will definitely surprise me. As Songyun walks over to an Infernal, eats it instantly. He has 3 items, so he is relatively strong. The Maw not exactly min-maxing damage onto the Kai'Sa, but he'll take it. Jin Air GreenWings, how many invitations do they have to do to kill the Baron? I'm pretty sure the Korean casters are screaming about doing the Baron.
Yep, I think that's probably the case as well. You got 4 items now on Lava. Seraph's Embrace as well as his sweet-ass hat and the Void Staff done with his Banshee's Veil, so the rise is huge. Not to mention Kai'Sa building towards Zeal item number 1.
Can we please do the Baron?
I think something would be good.
They don't have the most Baron damage ever, but they also don't take the most damage and have a huge Wombo re-engage with Nocturne into Orianna Shockwave and the Malphite helping out. Instead, we're chilling this. All right, finally.
Yeah, we're looking for the J. Slenderung has died 6 times before. Can they do it again is the question. Okay, they can't. And Jin Air now have Paranoia on cooldown. And not going to be able to find too much more.
Well, we could always wait out some cooldowns, see what happens in the meantime.
We've been doing that quite a lot.
We have.
So far this game. But thankfully for Unti, he's got a fair bit of CDR. Now that he's got his Warrior Enchant, as well as the Dust Blade of Drakthar, thanks for changing the build path, Riot. Now has 10 CDR on it, so 20% for the Nocturne. Gonna have that one up pretty dang soon.
I really want to buy a Diary of Songhwa, because if you think about his last month, he's had a game on Nunu where he flashed at level 1, then flashed into a Realm Warp, and didn't do anything as Nunu. And then he had the I'm going to chill and not move Lever Buster game last time out, got subbed out, and now they've had this game, which has also been weird and wonderful. So I feel like Songhwan's life in the jungle has been quietly one of the best stories of the second round robin.
It reminds me of one of those great TV shows on like ABC where all sorts of crazy stuff happens and it's what you watch when you're a teenager and it's all just weird, like Round the Twist. Do you remember Round the Twist?
Did you watch Rocco's Modern Life?
I loved Rocco's Modern Life.
This feels like Songhwan's Modern Life.
But it was so depressing.
It really was. I mean, to be fair, I've been watching Songhwan 3 games. It's been pretty depressing compared to his great games in the early part of the season.
He did have great games in the early part of the season, though. I'm trying to remember that, not the Rocco's Modern Life games. Oh, man. I feel sad even thinking about that show.
Well, I feel sad trying to think about this game. Because the thoughts have not necessarily been the smart one.
They haven't. Thinking about this game might be something you want to just take some time off of, Papa. Maybe just commentate something else.
That's why we're talking about children's TV shows. Because if we were talking about the macro and the micro, I'd be crying, Atlas.
Well, Teddy's got some items now, Papa, so maybe that's the next option. There's a Durham's Fist on Sohan. We had no idea what that could build into. Titanic Hydra Malphite?
Sounds good to me.
Well, what doesn't sound good for Jin Air is Nova taking about 1 billion damage. Decides that Sungyun isn't going to invest the ultimate. Didn't have enough vision in the area. And what did you say about the Shen? He can get out and get back in again pretty damn easily.
Now, Hanwha Life know they can kill the Baron almost instantly, so could we please check it now?
Well, the back is going to come down, and Grace gets a ball into the pit. They can see exactly what's going on in the immediate disengage to come down from Hanwha Life. Oh, that's a really good use of the Scryer's Bloom in order to make sure that Jin Air have some information. But now knowing that there is Linderung on the bottom side of the map, Jin Air are going to start off the Baron themselves as Teddy lying in wait. Nova's going to make his way over as well. Gets right in there. That's a 4-man Hemo Plague as you've got the double knockup coming down as well. Teddy jumps his way forward and Umti is going to get rid of the Rise. The Kaiser's dead as well. There is no damage on Hanwha left and Jin Air will just push down the mid lane.
They finally get their invitation. They finally take it. They started a Baron. Amazing play by Jin Air, but it's going to win them the game.
Yep, I think that could have happened about 20 minutes ago. However, it's going to happen now and it's still going to be good. Jin Air GreenWings, they mow down the inhibitor, and they will mow down the Nexus turrets pretty damn quickly as well. Now we've got another engage coming down from Nova. Shockwave onto a couple of members there as well as Linderung. He's extraordinarily low. Should be able to get taken down here as the Shen turns around and bops him. Nexus to fall, and Jin Air's Wombo comp reigns supreme over Hanwha Life.
38 minutes, you could not explain to a friend if you tried. So many things happened here. I call it the popcorn.
I feel like so many things and so little things happen.
Who was the
same
MVP
time.
of this game is a question asked to us right now, and that's a tricky one
Who
to
was
try to
the
work
first
out.
one to hit the Baron?
Well, I'm a big fan of the Malphite in this game. He was rock solid on the top of Jin Air, one lane against Jace, so well played for him. Otherwise, it was kind of a Pirates of the Caribbean situation where lots of flashy things happened. There were some quiet moments. They didn't really mean much.
Yep.
And in the end, the flashy moments won.
And the question is, which Pirates of the Caribbean was it? Because honestly, we've seen a lot of weird and wonderful things so far in this season, and there's so many Pirates of the Caribbean movies, I feel like it's a very fitting analogy that you went with there, Papa Smithy. Jin Air GreenWings were the team to take the first victory in this series, though. And honestly, we were talking about it earlier, the smart money was on Hanwha Life Esports because they've had the better season, or at least the better early part of the season. This time around, Jin Air looked like the better team.
Will the real Hanwha Life Esports please stand up? Because if they don't soon, Atlas, they're not going to make playoffs. They're already in 6th spot. They were entrenched in top 4 not 3 weeks ago. The Rift Rivals break happened. They weren't involved in Rift Rivals.
Yeah.
And whatever meta read they've had for a while now is really counting against them. Jin Air just took the Wombo. Eventually, we have the emphasis on, closed out the game with the Wombo, and Hanwha Life seem at a bit of a loss as to what they should do. We don't see 5 keyboards being packed up just yet, so maybe we will see the same players involved in game number 2, but a lot to work on for Hanwha Life.
Yeah, you can see some somber faces here in the booth as they try and gather themselves together. They know what they wanted. Get behind Sungyun, get him to carry. Lava also had a lot of agency this game to try and get damage done, but look at so